All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream. Welcome, allies. The last alliance is all here, I see. Good job, guys. Wow. So many people. Mitch, Bell, Viper, Blonde, Bombsheller, Salt to the Red Earth. I am feeling better, but I had just a terrible coughing fit just literally 60 seconds ago. Herb, just amazing. Everybody's here. Real Dave Seaman, Shere Khan. Like everybody just coming out of the woodwork. This is what I get for announcing my live stream early, huh? Yeah, wow, guys. Ronnie, thank you. So we have a pretty interesting stream today. I hope. First of all, we're going to have a little bit of a structure, perhaps, which is unlike me, I know. But we are going to, first of all, we're going to talk about what's going on the front lines briefly, and then we're going to talk about, some of the geopolitics and then some things that are happening here in Ukraine specifically that you might not be aware of. And then we're going to move into the topic of the live stream today, which is Putin's trump card. Ironic to use that term. Wow. I just gargled mouthwash and it made my tea / whatever's in here taste horrible. Apatox. Wow. Petra Olson. It's just everybody. Cheryl. Amazing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. So as you probably know, we're in the middle of a war. The fight continues. What can I say? We've got this Kharkiv thing happening. We've got Kupiansk happening. There was a major already shelling happening in Kharkiv, or at least on the outskirts of Kharkiv. And there was a park or a playground that was attacked, and children were injured or died. Yesterday, and I know other people have been talking about this, but yesterday I was openly wondering about what is the strategy, why is Russia doing this? And I think the ISW here has it right. Yeah, Lauren, structure, it's with me, I'm not a big structure guy, but we'll see. So the Institute for the Study of War here is, I think, assessing correctly that their intention, what they want to do is put the city of Kharkiv within the range of normal Russian artillery. They know that they can't take it. They know they can't take the city. But if they can, if they can take Lipsy here, this city right here, then arguably that would put them within striking distance, at least of the outskirts, and then they can just try to, it's an economic warfare, right? It's economic war. It's trying to just hit Ukraine's economy. It's a strategic attack, not anything. Let's say, I don't want to use too many military terms, but these other attacks are actively happening, Seversky and Pokrovsky and all those other areas that are down here, and these are the actual vectors of real attack, and these two these two areas, Pokrovsk and Pokrovsky. So remember yesterday we talked about these highways, which you can kind of see one here. I guess it shows them, these two main highways, and that's really what they're after. If they can cut off this highway here, which they're pretty close to doing, then that's a supply route for Chasiv Yar. That means that the supplies have to come all the way down, through Izium and as far as major highways, right? So we're talking about highway transportation, not. Viper, we can't give them Lipsy. That's right. It's absolutely critical. It's crazy. It's just this little town, little city, but geographically, it's strategically important. So like I was saying yesterday, Anders Puck Nielsen, and I know JP over at ATP Geopolitics was replaying Anders Puck Nielsen's statement about, like, there's no theory of warfare where fighting in little pushes almost along the entirety of a front line on a long wide front is recommended for anyone, but we do see that they do have a point. They do have some strategy here. I'm very concerned about this. Okay, so the Russians carried out a massive shelling of the logistics routes of the Ukrainian Defense Forces in Luhansk Oblast. Okay, and this is in the areas of Nevsky and Novolyubivka, which so I want to look on the map here, and we can kind of take a look at, so where is Luhansk, right? So Novolyubivka, where the heck? Novilevsky. So the border here. So this is this area right here that we're looking at is is Luhansk Oblast, and I know there's much talk about Ukraine trying to take out supply lines, but last night on the Shills, yeah, Lauren, yes, that is why they're making the northern bulge to get artillery within range and then flatten it so no hiding places, and active artillery can force the residents out, and it's an economic warfare, but so last night on the Shills, oh my gosh, Greg Terry was speaking about how Ukraine really, really needs to be hitting the Russian supply lines, and that's specifically the big ones, which are this area here, and the new road and the new rail that's being built here, and then all of these roads and lines, these transportation lines that you see in white, okay, and then of course the Kerch Bridge, and we see that, but at the same time, the Russians are doing the same thing on the other side, and that's deeply concerning to me. So we're going to talk a lot about this. This is going to be a big overarching theme for our KK's GG. Thank you for coming. Yes. Herb says you're forgiven, so I believe him. That's a good question, Cheryl. Did the Freedom of Russia Legion's incursions into Belgorod help or hurt? In the sense that maybe it kind of woke up the Russian the Russian army to the fact that this is also another front that maybe they had forgotten about, that this has some strategic value up here. Perhaps in that sense. I didn't I didn't, when it was happening, I didn't think that it was going to have a huge effect. Nobody thought it was going to have a huge effect. Those incursions, other than as kind of a propaganda piece, essentially, which is sad. Because it could do so much more. And this the Biden administration's chicken Kyiv complex. I made chicken stir fry today. Maybe that's why I'm on this topic. I cooked 2 kilograms of chicken, honestly. But the Biden administration, okay, so everybody should be familiar with chicken Kyiv. So this was, back in 1991, and George Bush the first said, "Oh no, we don't want Ukraine to leave, and we really want to break up the Soviet Union because because they're afraid of chaos and they want to keep their villain, I guess, or they did, and it's just so short-sighted and so dumb. If America would just step up, the Cold War instilled in many American politicians a craven stance towards Moscow's belligerence. And I would say this is also true of most European politicians, Western Europeans. Experience shows that fear, couched by pragmatism, is a losing approach. So we have to find a way to get beyond that, in our leaders, in our societies in general. So I'm going to go into why this is so critical, not just in terms of these arms and things, in terms of like Ukraine and not getting the arms that they needed and all of that stuff. There's a bigger picture here that I want to discuss. But let's dive into some of the things happening in Ukraine. First of all, Cisco Systems, American. So some American companies are stepping up, and I like to see that. Yeah, Cheryl. If Biden stepped up, he could win over more normie Republicans. Yeah, if he took a more active stance. A lot of Republicans, they want to see a strong leader. Well, here's a chance to do that. But so Cisco is a memorandum of partnership, and the reason it's important is you have digital education, cybersecurity, and expanding municipal digital services. What this does, whether they realize it or not, is potentially put Cisco on the target list for Russia. And in many ways, that's a good thing. I mean, Cisco already has been on the target list for Russia for a long time. Cisco systems have been hacked by Russian companies, and there's a huge gray market for Cisco equipment in Russia and China, and they've been circumventing Cisco's licensing. I was a network engineer. I've known about this for more like 15 years. But Cisco is also a key force in the field of, in particular, cybersecurity, and so seeing Cisco kind of take sides is potentially a good thing, even if it's not, it's kind of benign. It's like education and digital acceleration, but that will make them a target, and then that puts them on the right side of things. I have a crazy story for you, and I probably should have led with this story, to be honest with you, because this is wild. absolutely wild. All right. How AI turned a Ukrainian YouTuber into a Russian. Yeah. This is a wild, wild story, guys. Okay. I just have to say it's crazy town. Okay. So we're gonna get into it because it's blows my mind. Okay. Um so Olga Loik, she's a Ukrainian who lives in the United States. Goes to the University of Pennsylvania. She's 21 years old. Okay. So her face started popping up in various videos on Chinese social media. And she says, I don't want anyone to think that I ever said these horrible things in my life using a Ukrainian face, a Ukrainian girl for a face promoting Russia. Yeah. So this is crazy what China did. It's really wild. So we'll scroll down so I can show you. Okay. So this is she had a YouTube channel. She put up some videos. She kind of didn't really do much with it. Okay. Uh the Chinese took her videos and deepfaked them or used them for deepfakes. And so the AI version of her, okay, has become a spokesperson promoting friendship between Russia and China. Okay, so they've got this, you know, I assume supposedly Russian girl. They probably didn't even know that she was Ukrainian. They probably just found a Russian, what they thought was a Russian-looking woman who was not offensive to uh, Chinese, who are incredibly racist by and large. In my personal experience, and yeah, so let me just read through some parts of this article. It is shocking. So Olga's Mandarin-speaking AI lookalikes began emerging in 2023, soon after she started a YouTube channel, which is not very regularly updated. About a month later, she started getting messages from people who claimed they saw her speak in Mandarin on Chinese social media platforms. She started looking for herself and found AI likenesses of her on Xiaohongshu, a platform like Instagram, and Bilibili, which is a video site similar to YouTube. There were a lot of them, the accounts. Some had things like Russian flags in the bio. That she found 35 accounts using her likeness so far. So after her fiance tweeted about these accounts, Hey Jen, a firm that she claims developed the tool used to create the AI likenesses, responded. They revealed more than 4,900 videos had been generated using her face. Wow. So it says Angela Zhang of the University of Hong Kong says what happened to Olga is very common in China. I feel sorry for her. Angela Zhang, she's probably not, commenting to a Western newspaper about Chinese AI deepfakes. She's probably going to get a visit from the Chinese police soon. So I mean, it's true. The country is home to a vast underground economy specializing in counterfeiting, misappropriating personal data, producing deepfakes. We know that. If you didn't know that, it's a big thing, right? But this is very specific. Okay, this is very specific because it's most of these videos are all about promoting China-Russia relations. And so this is so it says here, it is unclear whether these accounts were coordinating under a collective purpose, but promoting a message that is in line with the government's propaganda definitely benefits them. They aren't explicitly linked to the CCP, Chinese Communist Party. Yeah, but come on, you know, it's wild. It's just wild. So here she is, thankfully, you know, in America. Guys, if you see a deep fake of me, you know somebody's digging the bottom of the barrel. That's all I'm saying. Right, KK's GG here. Talk about a backhanded compliment. Right. Yes, that's what I was saying. To be considered attractive enough by Chinese standards of Western beauty. Yeah, because they are like, it's wild, you know. These tentacles of these tentacles of propaganda, you know, are everywhere, and we have to realize that we are you know, under attack on multiple levels. It's wild. Isn't it wild? Guys, I'm just oh, Lauren, so you're just catching up. Yeah. It's yeah, welcome to the new world. And you know, these tentacles are right here in Ukraine. So a member of Medvedchuk's propaganda ring, Putin's ally Medvedchuk, arrested in Kyiv. You know, Security Service of Ukraine exposed a Kyiv-based underground cell of the pro-Kremlin organization Another Ukraine. Another Ukraine, which means Another Ukraine is the one run from Russia. That's what they want, by Viktor Medvedchuk. If you wasn't sure, if you weren't sure that that's so Viktor Medvedchuk. If you had forgotten, right? Which I will. Okay, James. There we go. Let's go back to that. I'll just show you, just to remind you who Viktor Medvedchuk is. So he was a Ukrainian politician of the pro-Russia party, the leader of the pro-Russia party. Oh, thank you, Leslie, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Welcome, elf friend. Mega Vonnen Melanin, as we say. Yeah, Cheryl. that's very classic, you know. Yeah, catfishing is classic, but these deep fakes take it a step further. So Medvedchuk was head of the pro-Russia party here in Ukraine called Opposition Party for Life. That's what they were called. And he, you know, you can see here, he was arrested at the beginning of the war. He was exchanged as part of a prisoner exchange, and now he is actively running spy rings and influence operations. I think that Ukraine made a mistake when they exchanged him to Russia. You know, like if you are a Ukrainian citizen and Ukraine arrests you and you're like, yeah, I want to go to Russia. Like, well, we know what's up. You know, you see that if you guys aren't, if you guys don't watch Zolkin, you should. Absolutely, you should. You'll learn a lot. Yeah, I mean, yes, Ukraine got a lot of prisoners in exchange for Viktor Medvedchuk, but so he's not just coordinating that. I saw another report. Oh my gosh, and I should have saved it because I would have talked about that in somewhere in Europe. Was it Czechia, where spies that are basically being handled by Medvedchuk um, were active, in all kinds of dirty dealings in Western Europe, Western and Central Europe. So they basically, so the video content specialists who worked as part of the group set up an underground studio in an apartment just out in an apartment just outside video to produce animated videos. They would send their products for final approval to their Russian-based handler, a former host of the Medvedchuk-owned TV channel, who now leads the organization's office in Moscow. Like traitors, absolute traitors. And then the anti-Ukrainian content would be circulated across media platforms controlled by the oligarch. So these things are, still happening, and these tentacles still exist here in Ukraine. So, I can't, I don't want to. Well, look at this. This has been going on for a long time, and well before Maidan. But I did not know about the presence of FSB agents on the streets of Kyiv during the Euromaidan protests. What? I just found out about this. I get and I was thinking about this because I was watching Dylan Burns today, and uh, and he was talking to some tanky. Tankies are people who support Russia, usually because they think they're communists. Either they think they themselves are communists, or they think Russia is secretly communist or something, which is ridiculous. But this tanky was saying, well, of course, it was the CIA that caused the Euromaidan, the Maidan revolution in Ukraine. Like, no, not at all. In fact, quite the opposite. There were, nobody talks about the influence of Russia's FSB or the Berkut. If you didn't know what the Berkut is, you should. Okay, Berkut, Ukraine, yeah. So they were like they were the riot control, the Rosgardia. Yeah, here we go. Meet Ukraine's brutal Berkut police force. Yeah, so this is an article from when, like 2000. Yeah, this has got to be from 2014. Over the last 2.5 months, 100,000. Yeah, 2014. So this Berkut special police force, most of these guys, when the war started and when Russia invaded, most of these Berkut members, they're in Russia now. They went to Crimea and Russia. Yeah. And so again, there were a lot of there's a lot of FSB influence in Ukraine, and nobody talks about this. People talk about, oh, it was the CIA. The CIA didn't do anything with regards to they once again, going back to Chicken Kyiv. Okay, the Obama administration didn't want a revolution in Ukraine. They actually, at least benignly, supported Yanukovych. They didn't really care what happened in Ukraine, quite frankly. As long as it's stable, and they didn't really care. Nobody in America cared what was happening in Russia at all. Had any idea about it? So, yeah, I just found out about this, and I thought it was, it's like completely the opposite narrative. And this is the thing, like we're fighting these propaganda narratives, just like this AI thing where they're taking a Ukrainian and turning it into the opposite, and it's the same thing. You know, it's the same thing. That it's the classic Nazi tactic. Uh, whatever you are doing, accuse your opponent of that thing. Essentially, you know. All right, so let's get into stuff that's really that's happening in Ukraine. Aha, interesting. As this odd terms, sorry, Jonathan. Let's see. I was asked this morning if I was ready to be denazified by Russia. So I told him yes, as soon as he and his kind will be over, and Russia will be a footnote. Yeah, yeah. On my video today, for some reason, my video yesterday, for some reason, is attracting um, a whole bunch of pro-Russian viewers. I think every time I show picture like my short videos of uh, the memorials to soldiers, showing pictures of dead soldiers, dead Ukrainian soldiers. Anytime I have those, or when I showed the damage the Russians did in like Izium on my short videos. If you haven't seen those, um, maybe I should bring it up. Let's see here. No, I don't want to watch my own video from the other day. Thank you. You guys can. Come on. Come on, computer. All right. Stop it. All right, forget it. You guys can go and watch my anyway, I have shorts where I'm showing damage the Russians have done, people the Russians have killed, okay? And when I go and look at the statistics for those videos, those are the ones that get the most Russian views. Okay? That's wild to me. So anybody who tells me, well, the Russians don't really know what's going on here in Ukraine. Oh yes, Leslie, I know. I saw about the helicopter crash with the Iranian president on board. Yeah. I'm not. I don't think that. I think the what I heard is the Iranian president is alive and he's fine. But they just can't get to him or something like that. So it's not terribly important to me. I mean, I assume he's going to live. You'll also notice I didn't talk about the president of Slovakia. I haven't discussed it because disgust is the operative word, so it's not worthy of my attention. Jonathan says he was responding to me saying that the Kremlin buildings were a legitimate military target. Sure. Of course. Which they are. Oh, well, thanks for coming, Lauren. I didn't know Rick was streaming right now. Frick. Is he always streaming? I swear to God. I try to squeeze in around him, for God's sake. Jesus. Okay. Well, look. Yesterday I was speaking about the issue of this. So there's plenty of people who are willingly going in and they're ready to, if they get conscripted, if they get drafted, they will totally sign up. Okay. And there's Ukrainians I talk to, Ukrainian men who are like, oh my God, I don't want to go to the army. But a lot of them are like, yeah, of course, if they call me, I will totally do that. I know a lot of Ukrainians who were turned away in the first year. So like I was saying yesterday, I know Ukrainians who went and stood in line literally overnight waiting to, not necessarily be conscripted, but have their papers checked and potentially. So this is a good thing. This is the point I'm trying to make. So the Ministry of Defense launches the mobile application Reserve Plus for conscripts. Okay, that's a mistranslation. Conscripts, and reservists. So because the system was just overwhelmed because May 18th, so yesterday, is when the law changed, and all conscripts age 18 to 60 must update their credentials, including their health status. And it's a lot. And it says within 60 days. Oh, Jesus Christ, how are they? Even with this app, it's going to be interesting to see if they actually can do it. Because it's a lot. But so this is a step in the right direction, and it was interesting to me because yesterday, and I briefly saw this as I was finishing, but there was a brief protest against the new mobilization law yesterday between Kirovohrad and Odessa regions. Truck drivers decided to have a protest against the law, but apparently it was just a very short term thing. So it's not like we're not seeing like massive. Oh, Richard, Iran's president flew into the side of a mountain in the fog. That is interesting. Yeah, Viper. Thank God, and contracts are now a minimum 6 months. Really a good thing. A very good thing. Yeah, KK's GG. The plenty of Rick's stream to catch after. Yeah, seriously, I'm gonna go for another hour. Max. So yeah, you got a while with Rick, man. He's in it for the long haul, to be sure. But God bless him. So I want to just touch briefly about the discussion that is happening in Ukraine, and I know I touch on this occasionally, but this article title here, "Peace in Exchange for Justice," right? So these are discussions that are ongoing in the Ukrainian society about where. So this is the talk about. Well, here's another article about it. No, this one. Yes. Whether the frozen money of the Russian Federation would be enough to compensate ordinary Ukrainians, basically. So if there's there's this peace summit coming up, supposedly, and in Switzerland, and so these discussions are being had here in Ukraine. So on the other hand, the question, what about justice, remains open, right? What, instead, we have the fattened and satisfied faces. Here, let me just here. Ukrainians are not interested in open registers when it comes to revenge converted into justice. It's about a completely understandable but legally formalized revenge. Sentences to Russian murderers, inability to travel the world. Instead, we have the fattened and satisfied, and forgive the bad translation here, guys, but instead we have the fattened and satisfied faces of Russian prisoners of war in exchange for the endless machine of Mariupol garrison sentences, or the tortured and starved bodies of our heroes in exchange. Where is the justice here? Why do we see how bloggers walking around our occupied cities calmly then go to the EU and mock our people in evacuation? Where is the justice here? So this is, there in Germany, there was a Ukrainian who was stabbed by a Russian just recently. Like, how are they still able to even leave Russia? Why? Why are they able to enter the EU? And I understand that there are some pro Ukrainian Russians out there, that I totally get that, and they are good people. Whoa, Ronnie, it's raining inside your house? Jesus Christ. Yeah, literally you have to bail. Like, you have to physically take a bucket and bail. Okay, well, be safe, my man. Good God. So, this is what Ukrainians are seeking is restoration of justice, and I is that in the horizon even? I mean, I know that there are those in the EU and possibly in America who would push for, well, if we turn over this $300 billion to you, will you make peace with Russia? And wait. Uh, Cheryl, you're talking about ugh, the pedophile Scott Ritter. Um, oh, hey JPH, you're gonna rewatch the first half hour. Oh, well, you didn't miss much. I was mainly just babbling incessantly. Uh, okay. Um, but yeah, so this is not going to be enough. That $300 billion or whatever is nowhere near enough. Even if they could get the banks to cough up the money, which they won't, which they don't want to, you know, and it would be a fight for years and years and years. And more importantly, and this is it would just lead to, and I hope you guys all know this, but people who don't know this are going to watch this live stream, okay? A frozen conflict, okay, where the lines, where this red area of occupied territory remains occupied, okay? You just have to think about the reality of what that means, okay? So I'm just going to read for you. Chris Hennemeyer explores how Russian occupation would transform the lives of ordinary Ukrainians if the war ends with an inconclusive, fragile peace, which is what that would be. I barely noticed the two secret policemen approach me from opposite sides until I felt their hands firmly grip my upper arms and pull me to the door of a modern office building. "You will come with us," said one, dressed like his colleague in jeans and a tight black leather jacket. They were unremarkable men except for the large black semi-automatic weapons on their hips. Yeah. Seconds later, I was bundled into the back seat of a nearby Jeep with a military driver behind the wheel. Do you know how many Ukrainians? Interesting, Viper. Still waiting for our Shitten yacht. I like your idea. All right. Okay. We'll talk about that. Okay. Um, but seriously, I was saying yesterday when I was talking about Crimea, my first best friend here in Ukraine was a Crimean Tatar, and he was, uh, kidnapped briefly by Russian secret police during the occupation of Crimea in 2014. And I think as I recall, he was not able to leave Crimea. He basically had to go into hiding in Crimea until 2015 when he was able to get out. But he had this exact situation where he was, you know, uh, thrown into an unmarked car by, unremarkable men, and somehow didn't die, but they basically were like, yeah, we're keeping an eye on you. And some of his friends were in fact killed, disappeared, or their bodies were found later, beaten and tortured. You know, um, now in this case, so I tried to determine who they were and where they were taking me, but the only response was a stolid, "Everything will be clear when we reach our destination." I contemplated the range of possibilities awaiting me: kidnapping for ransom, harsh interrogation, perhaps a shallow grave on the outskirts of town. As it turns out, my 2015 expulsion from Donetsk City, so he's an American, right, ended rather benignly, with me being put on a bus to Kyiv. But what it taught me was that in the neo-Soviet world, I like that term, neo-Soviet world. Oh, a Putin yacht. Oh, right, Viper. Okay. I'm glad that struck your imagination, sir, because I like it a lot. Okay. I'm glad to hear you say that. Yeah, I'm not joking about that at all. That's sorry. I know it's just me and Viper are the only, well, okay, there are only 3 people maybe who know what we're talking about. I digress. I apologize. OPSEC, right? Okay. I like this term though, neo-Soviet. And I'm going to start using this word, the neo-Soviet Union or neo-Soviet Russia, you know? Really. Uh okay. Putin yacht is in Sardinia and we spend a lot of money to take care of it. Wow, okay. That's interesting. I'm sure Putin doesn't Putin have like 12 yachts or something? Anyway. Okay. Although I'd come to the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic with the approval of a local SBU, Ukraine Security Service, that meant nothing. Yeah, right. So the point of this article is that um, a a frozen conflict or some sort of peace that preserves the occupied territories, including Crimea, as occupied, means permanent torture. There are thousands of people hidden in basements and cells underground all across these territories who are being tortured right now and have been tortured for 2 years, you know, and they're just there and they're not allowed to die and they're not allowed to leave. And we know this. We are condemning those people to a horrible, awful, horrible existence and more of them every day. We are condemning those people to a life under the worst possible conditions. Literal, genocide, cultural and literal genocide. Uh, Patrick's time. A decade-long secret partnership between the CIA and Ukraine has been critical for lethal operations against Russia. Yes, that is absolutely correct. We saw that news article come out. So since 2014, after the Maidan Revolution, the CIA then started helping Ukraine. So make sure you have your timeline straight on that. And thank God they did. Thank God they did. And they do, and they continue to. Yeah. Okay. But I digress. We need to always think about that. So this chicken Kiev is perpetuating this torture. The fact that the Biden administration just wants to, kind of just drip, 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 little. You guys are funny. Uh, drip, drip, drip with the arms, and then a little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, I hope that they've pulled their heads out of their behindies. You know what I mean? Yeah. Thank you, Richard Stevens. Obama was said to have refused the CIA's request to have CIA officers in Ukraine. Correct. That's right. That's right. So don't get your timelines. It was only after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. And by the way, Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. They held a gun to the heads of parliament members in Crimea and held a fake referendum and 20% of the population was in favor of Russia in Donetsk and Luhansk. Okay, 20%. I personally know many, many, many people from I know many people from Donetsk and Luhansk who left under threat of torture, under threat of persecution, who barely escaped with their lives. And the population of these areas dropped precipitously. Everybody who could left after. Well, Leslie, we could say that this war is Obama's fault, but really this war is Vladimir Putin's fault and the Russians. But we could say that Obama certainly was an enabler, unfortunately. And I hate to say that, but it's true. All right, Patrick's. The West, the CIA, NATO are to blame for the Ukraine war. Really? That's very interesting. So you're saying that Putin just didn't invade Ukraine? That's what you're saying? Really? That's hilarious, man. I mean, stupid with a capital stew. I mean, please continue to explain what you mean by that. Yeah. How does anything that the West was doing justify the genocide that is being committed in Ukraine by Russia, the torture right now? Real Dave Seaman. Patrick's time. But who's to blame for your lack of understanding? Thank you, Patrick's time. I'm very glad you asked, why did Putin invade? First of all, it's never right. There's never, ever, ever a justification, okay, for Putin to invade. There was never a justification. There's almost never a justification for any country to invade another country, okay? But you know why Putin invaded? Because he wants power, because he's greedy, because he's a kleptocrat, okay? So let's, here we are. Let's skip over some of this other stuff that I was talking about. Let me show you. I think this is an important little video here. It's like a hour-long video by Real Life Lore. It's called "Why Kazakhstan is Insanely Empty." Patrick's time. Do you know what Russia did to Kazakhstan? Do you have any clue what Russia did to Kazakhstan? It's exactly what they have tried to do to Ukraine, only like 10 times worse. Oh, Putin warned for years against NATO expansion. Who gives a shit, dude? The countries that joined NATO did so because they wanted to. NATO didn't expand. The countries asked to join NATO because they didn't like Russia. That's not an excuse to invade, dude. That's not an excuse to start a war. So let's just take a look here. What Russia did, they took over this country, Kazakhstan. Okay, they replaced the people of Kazakhstan. They literally, look at this. 1930 to 1933, Great Famine, 1.5 to 2.3 million deaths. They slaughtered the Kazakh people, okay, through starvation and actual attacks, until they reached the point where there were as many or more Russians than Kazakhs. And that's the same thing that they did in Crimea. Yeah? And then, you know what they used it for? You know what they used Kazakhstan for? From 1950, I think, 59 at least, until the end of the Cold War, until the Soviet Union thankfully fell to pieces. Patrick's time. Russia has more fighters today who will die in Ukraine. You know why they have more fighters today than when this started? Because the first 500,000 that they sent to Ukraine all died. We killed them all. So now Patrick's time. Look, let me just show you here. Let me show you. Yeah. Here's Russia's population pyramid. Yeah. This entire generation of Russians is dead. They're dying. They're being ground up. They're pushing up sunflowers. And why? Why is this happening? Because of one man's ambition? No. I would say that this is the ambition of an entire society and their willingness to, dulce et decorum est, right? Dulce et decorum est. Yeah. So Richard Stevens, Kazakhstan is bucking against Putin, and why? Why is that? Because guess what? Kazakhstan was the largest, the most intense nuclear testing in any place in the world. These are all nuclear bomb. You know what? I don't have any. Patrick, do you know that I spoke to a Russian today in Russia? I have Russians in my family. Patrick's time. I do. The only thing I have against Russians is Putin has never killed Americans. Patrick's time, I have friends who were killed by the Russians because the Russians are invading a country they have no business in. Absolutely no business in. Murdering, raping, and stealing toilets. Thank you, Real Dave Seaman. So look at this. This is what Russia did to Kazakhstan, guys. They turned it into a massive ecological disaster. Okay. And then on top of that, after that, have you guys ever heard of the Aral Sea? The Aral Sea used to be the second largest freshwater lake in the world. The Russians drained it completely and turned Kazakhstan into a desert. And now the Kazakhstan, fertility rate just fell to pieces. Everything that Russia touches is destroyed. They destroy everything that they touch, even themselves. So here's the question. You asked about why did Putin invade Ukraine? It's very, very interesting. I have a theory about this. And I think it has to do with this. I think it has to do with this here. I'm going to close some of my windows so that I can all this craziness. We can skip through that, and then I can we can get rid of that douchebag. There we go. Okay. So first of all, I don't want to go full Zion on you. You're right, Patrick's time. Using Ukrainians as cannon fodder is wrong. So Putin should stop doing it. He should stop attacking Ukrainians. He should get the hell out of Ukraine. Instead, what he wants to do is this, what you see right here. Okay? This is what Putin wants. He and listen, I had the discussion. He believes, first of all, oh man, I had this amazing, horrible discussion, I would say, with a tanky like yourself, Patrick's time, on a channel, completely different channel. I think it was a Serbian who said, well, the word Rus used to be applied to all Slavic people, so that means that all Slavic people are Russian. The West should never have funded Nazis from Eastern Ukraine. Now you're just spouting lies. They were never, that's just lies. Actually, the Nazis, first of all, let's use the word fascist. The fascists are in Russia. Okay? Okay, because Russia's the guys who wants to take over at least half of Europe. Okay, and the reason they want to do this is to secure their borders. Why do they want to secure their borders? Because Putin knows what's coming. Let's see if I can. Oh man, now I've messed up my whole picture. Is this it? Yes, here we go. This is why Putin invaded Ukraine. This is why. Okay? Because he saw what was happening to, first of all, to the Russian population. Okay? And he knows that, guess what? Climate change is coming. Yeah? And in 50 years, all these yellow areas, if climate change continues at its current rate, and we hit the level of 4 degrees Celsius average temperature warmer, all of these areas here are going to be turned into desert, uninhabitable desert. See that right down there in the yellow? Uninhabitable desert. Okay? That's America, China, Southern Europe, all these places. Putin wants climate change. Putin wants climate change. Patrick's time. There are no Nazis in Ukraine. I'm in Ukraine. I know lots of people in Ukraine. Many Ukrainians did not fight with the Nazis. You're just spouting lies again. You think that anyone who opposes Russia is a Nazi. Russians are Nazis. The Russians are Nazis. Mitch, I agree. Okay, that is the least accurate map I've seen yet, but the concept is still right. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of different maps we can look at of what the world is going to look like, when climate change happens. But it's undeniable that basically the only inhabitable parts of the world is going to be Canada, Alaska, and Siberia. And Norway. Okay, so Putin had to have looked at. So let's just take a look at this article here, right? If this ever pops up. The planet may reach a new temperature peak in the next 5 years, 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial level. Okay, and how does that lead us to 4 degrees? Right? It doesn't seem like it's such a big deal, but it is because of permafrost. Permafrost is the here we take a look at the Russian permafrost map, right? Like half of Russia is permafrost. This is frozen soil. Frozen soil that's full of carbon, full of old dead grass and plants, sphagnum moss, all this other stuff. Okay, and when it melts, and it is melting at an incredibly rapid pace, the global climate change is inevitable. Once all this permafrost melts, it's like our climate can potentially have a big freaking flip. Big flip. Oh, UTV and Ham, thanks for coming. Patrick's time. Stepan Bandera was in a Nazi prison for the entirety of World War II. He never committed any of the war crimes that you and your paid Russian trolls accuse him of. His organization was subverted by the Nazis to commit war crimes. That's true. Against the people who had been torturing them and war criming the hell out of them for more than a decade. Yeah. Yeah, that's another question. Why did Russia signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Agreement. Why did Russia collaborate with the Nazis from 1939 to 1941? Is that because they are fascist as well? Because they actually just agree with each other? The policies of Stalinist Russia and Putler's Russia now are essentially the same as Hitler's. The only difference was they were just in different countries and opposed to each other. Thank you, Mark. His family were killed by the Nazis. Exactly. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that's that, but Bandera was deceived. Yes, thank you, Cheryl. Ukrainians wanted a Ukraine for Ukrainians. Nazis promised that. As soon as Bandera realized it was a lie, he rebelled and was imprisoned in Auschwitz. Two of his brothers died there. Yes. Thank you. Right. But, it's fine. Thanks for coming, Patrick. I appreciate you watching my stream and commenting. It really helps the algorithm. Really appreciate it. So, I mean, look, people say, oh, Putler's this crazy guy. No, I think he's playing 4D chess here, guys. I think that he took a look at when COVID happened. Let's see if I can find some COVID statistics here. I was looking at them. When COVID happened, I think that's COVID. People said that. Oh, let's see if I can find it here. No, I can't. Damn. Oh yeah, here we go. COVID carbon emissions. Yeah. So, the coronavirus caused the largest annual reduction in carbon dioxide emissions. People say that Putin changed during COVID. I think what changed was he realized, oh shit, Russia might not be able to become a global superpower by desertifying the rest of the world. I better start a war so everybody forgets about climate change. And now we're hitting this tipping point with our climate where by 2026, a major United Nations science report predicted dramatic and dangerous effects on people in the world if warming exceeds 1.5 degrees Celsius. And we are approaching that point. And as long as this war is going on, everybody's forgetting about climate change. The effects of this war are, we've got fires. Yeah, that's right. That's all right. Patrick's time. You're right. War is great for climate change. And that is exactly what Putler wants, because he wants to transform Russia and Siberia into the only habitable places on the planet. And he has to put those borders in place, right? He has to put these borders in place because he knows that when he creates this global disaster, everybody's going to try and come to live in Russia. So he better have some buffer zones in place to stop that. Yeah, Putin's spent too much time in isolation. I think he's spent too much time listening to Peter Zayan, because he realized that Russia demographically, so if we look at the population pyramid, okay, Russia demographically, this is the last chance that he doesn't care about how many millions of Russians die, nor Ukrainians die. But he knows that this is his last big piece of meat, his last chance to, grind this meat. It's a very like Fallout sort of a thing, If you watch the Fallout series, it totally reminds me of this, like, he doesn't need 145 million people here. It doesn't matter how many he has, actually, but he has to take advantage of this last generation, this last Soviet generation in Russia, or he won't have enough people. Wow, one of your grandfathers was a prisoner in Bergen-Belsen, Manu. Wow. Yeah, yeah, Patrick's time. Don't forget to hit the like button. We love your support for the channel. And next time, bring a friend. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Thank you, Leslie Bo. Patrick's time. Why do you think Putin is stealing children from Ukraine? Why is he stolen? Why has he kidnapped 700,000 Ukrainian children? You know, because of this population pyramid. He wants to steal them all and take them all to his paradise, you know. That's what you got, man? Climate change is not a top 10 issue for voters? That's what you got for me? That's your answer to why Putin stole 700,000 children from Ukraine? That's the answer? I would argue that of late, people in America and people in Europe have seemed to care more about climate change than they do about the war in Ukraine, sadly. Yeah, Patrick's time. That is documented by the UN and many other. Here we go. How many children has Russia kidnapped? Yep. Yep. Here we go. Wikipedia. And it's all very well documented. You can check it. So, you know, 700,000 as of July 2023. Perpetrators. Vladimir Putin. I mean, they were tried for war crimes. Putin is a war criminal because of this. He announced it. They bragged about it. They talked about it. Wait, Patrick's time. In your beloved country, voting is not a top 10 issue, nor is human life, I'd like to mention. You know, 500,000, we're approaching 500,000 Russians killed. Okay, Patrick's time. Now we just, he lost track of 87,000. Whatever, dude. Okay. Yeah, I am. I'm having a good time with Patrick's time. You're making me laugh today, man. That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah. I'm quite sure any of Patrick's friends are flat earthers and are afraid to go too far and fall off the half planet. Perhaps. Perhaps. Oh yeah. Blonde, thank you. Blonde Bombshiller said actually, Patrick, it was Trump who lost those kids. Okay. So we're talking about immigrant children who were trying to come to America and supposedly lost track of them, but yeah. Yeah. Trump, Putler's stooge in America. But I digress. Putler's trump card, as we say. Shere Khan, thank you for coming. Thank you so much. But yeah, so it's all connected here, guys. And you know, this is what we're looking at. And you know, I've been researching. We still are seeing the effect of this war. You know, things blowing up everywhere, fires. You have to use more gas for all these vehicles, all these war vehicles and things. The war doesn't just cost money. You know, it's causing massive environmental destruction and massive use of fossil fuel resources. Now, I have seen some. Oh, here we go. Patrick's time. Here's always the last argument that Russian trolls like to make. Why aren't you fighting for your cause? Do you guys want to tell him? I'll let you tell him. We are fighting. This is a great time, actually, to talk about. Guys, we're having a raffle to buy a drone for Ukraine. As you guys know, I have already delivered 3 drones to the front lines. and we want to deliver a fourth. And this is the drone that they asked for. And last I checked, I think we hit 300 last night. I think we hit 300 last night. So another 200 will get us to 5, and then this drone will go to the front line. Fantastic. I hope that Patrick, you should consider donating. I didn't see exactly how many tickets, but I think we crossed the $300 mark. And yeah, by the way, Patrick's time. Why don't you? Have you thought about coming to Ukraine? It's nice here this time of year. The weather's great. The sunflowers are beautiful. Thank you. Tell your friends thank you for that. Oh yeah, actually, Mitch asked, does being a troll exempt you from serving? I think it does, actually. I think if you work in one of the troll farms in St. Petersburg, you are told at least that you will be on the last on the list to be dragged off to the front. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who donated last night while I was on the Shills. And Patrick's time, we just talked about that. Why aren't you on the front line? I was on the front line like 3 weeks ago, dude. And I have lots of friends on the front line, and we are supporting those units. And if you're interested in knowing, I did join the International Legion. I live here in Ukraine, of course. And I did join the International Legion last year, was injured in training, and everyone's going to hate me when I say this. I still intend to go back. So, Patrick's time, I hope I get to see you. Maybe I'll see you in my scope someday. Make sure you wave and say hi. Real Dave Seaman, I literally just added another 2 tickets. You can give them to 2 random viewers. Fantastic. No, actually, I think, Patrick, I think we should put those. Patrick, would you like to win? So we have, by the way, so this drone raffle, if you want to know. Mitch, I went without a gun to my head. Yes, as many have. But so, Patrick, I just wanted to show you. Alabama Cajun, you asked, James, would it be better to source drone components so they can be customized and reduce the need to have to replace components to secure them? That is something that I am working on, Alabama Cajun. That is something I'm working on. And some of us in our group are actively working on as well. Anyway, so Patrick, since you're here, I just wanted to show you this. Here, let me go full screen. Yeah, there we go. So Patrick, look at this. This is the signature of one of the soldiers who's killing your friends every day. I just wanted to show you that. He signed this for us. If you go back through my community tab and look at some of my shorts, you can see where I've documented the time that I've spent out there on the front line, giving this stuff to people. I just wanted to show you. So anybody, if you donate to buy the drone, this is one of the prizes that you could win, Patrick. You could win this. Wouldn't you like to have this? Maybe you should think about donating to the drone fund so you could get this signature. Wouldn't you like that? Hey, Patrick's time. How corrupt is Russia? Yeah, let's take a look right now. Thanks for bringing it up. Patrick's time. How corrupt is Russia? Let's take a look. How corrupt is Russia? Yeah. Transparency International stated in 2022 corruption is endemic in Russia and assigned it the lowest score of any European country. in their corruption perceptions index for 2021. And you know what? They're actually lower now than they were before. Aren't you glad you live in Russia? The salary at the troll factory still sucks, doesn't it? Oh my gosh. This is so much fun, guys. So anyway, I just want to talk about some of the amazing prizes. First of all, um, our very own Belle. I don't know. Say hello, Belle, if you're in the chat here. Belle painted this amazing painting, and I guess Buy Me a Coffee doesn't let me zoom in on this painting, but I just wanted to show this to Patrick. This is a really amazing painting here. It's a picture of the Russian flag being torn to shreds and pierced by the Ukrainian trident. Take a good look at it. Take a good look at the beauty of it, actually. Here, let's make it a little bit bigger. I wonder if I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? No, shit. God damn it, James. I don't want to do that. Okay, there we go. Okay, here, let's go over to this screen and we'll zoom in. Yeah! Patrick's time. Take a look at this. Look at this beautiful picture. I just wanted to show you the Russian flag being destroyed by the Ukrainian trident, because that's what's happening. That's what's happening to your people. Your people every day. How many Russians died every day last week in Ukraine? It was like 1,700, 1,500. I think the lowest number was 1,300. Oh, hey, Belle, thanks for coming. We were just showing your painting to a Russian troll. I'm trying to get him to buy. Thank you, Petra. It is a lovely painting. Yes, I'm trying to get him to buy a ticket. And by the way, Patrick's time. I just wanted to show you this. Do you remember when Ukraine sunk the Moskva, the flagship of the Russian fleet? So they made a commemorative stamp about it that says, "Russian warship, go fuck yourself." And this is one of the prizes that you could earn, Patrick. Check it out. This one is signed by a member of one of the drone teams that's killing your friends. And it says, "Slava Ukraine, fuck Russia." Look at that. Wouldn't you like to buy this? It's a prophetic painting, Bill, coming to a Russian border near you. That's absolutely correct. So I just again, I just want to encourage you to support our drone raffle. And Patrick's time, I want to thank you for coming, because it was really fun to have you. So go to buymeacoffee.com/whyukraine. Oh, Patrick's time. How is Ukraine going to defend against hypersonic weapons? Oh no. It's called Patriot missiles. But yeah, some of your hypersonic weapons have sucked. But how, Patrick's time, how is Russia going to defend against Ukraine's homemade drones? You know, wait. Here, I just got to Google this. How many refineries does Russia have left? How many refineries does Russia have left? How many refineries need to be destroyed? To trigger a crisis. Oh, look. 3 to 4 refineries per month. Well, that's good news. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? This is outdated information a little bit, but, you know, every day another refinery goes down in Russia. And we don't have to attack you guys with hypersonic weapons. You can't defend against drones that are just made out of just regular old airplanes. Like, you guys can't even defend your own territory from, look, Ukraine airplane drone. You know, it's just this like old, by the way, you can buy them like super cheap now. So if you'd like to help fund this, Russia and China closer than ever. Yeah, we talked about that. It's true. You know. So yeah, here we go. They're taking these like old airplanes and just yeah, it's true. Patrick's time. Your country is just basically a gas station for China now. You know, that's all. That's all that you're good for anymore. How does that feel? Oh, the great mother Russia. You know, are you learning Mandarin now? How's your Mandarin? Can you say ni hao? I used to speak Mandarin the Patrick's time. I'm actually a language teacher, so maybe I could relearn Mandarin and I'll teach you some. That would help. Just remember, Balza means like a pastry, like a bulichki, like a piroshki, and balza means prostitute. So be careful when you go to order a piroshki in Mandarin. Be careful that you're not asking for a prostitute because that could get you in trouble. Um, yes, it is planting season, Viper. So last week we needed to put fertilizer in the ground, and the Russians helped at about 1,500 per day. Yes. Russia added 600 billion of total wealth, the Swiss bank found in its global wealth report. Why this is relevant? Okay. Hey, Patrick, you smell bad. I can smell you from here, dude. It smells like bullshit. It's things you're saying are not useful. Well, this is. Oh, I love this though. This is great. Let's see. The U.S. lost more wealth than any other country last year, shedding 5.9 trillion, while North America and Europe combined got 10.9 trillion poorer. What's this? He really is in Russia. He really is in Russia. Oh, it's great, and he really believes this shit too. It's really funny. Like the American economy is doing better than it ever has. Let's take a look here. U.S. Stock market record, just in case you didn't know. Okay, May 16th, the Dow Industrial Average post its all-time high of 40,000 points. Okay, like, and it did so at the news of reduced inflation. The economy's growing. The jobs level in America, the unemployment rate is fine. Everything's fine. America's doing great. But yeah, you're right. The Russian sanctions are not working out so well, Patrick. You're right. That's why we just got to keep trying. We're just going to keep cranking down on you, until you can't even buy a toilet. That's the idea. Oh, by the way, let's see. Russia breast pump drone chips. Let's see if I can find it. There's an awesome article about how yeah. So first of all, you got here it is. Russia is forced to take microchips from breast pump devices. That's where you're getting your chips from, dude. Yeah. Yeah, Bell. Yeah, we're a third world country now. Do you know that? Okay. So, yeah. So there you go. Go build your drones out of your breast pump chips, my dude. You know. Yeah, Petra. They don't buy toilets; they steal them. Oh, good. Thank you for reminding me. I do need to. I think we caught another video, and guys, I'm actually gonna. I'm coming to the end of my stream today. I'm terribly sorry. But I want to just show you this video of some of Patrick's Time's friends. By the way, I just would like to know, like, if you guys are doing so well, Patrick's Time, why are you hiring people from like Africa and stuff to come fight for you, and then they just get kidnapped or or from Nepal or India where they're getting kidnapped to come here, you know. And this one, let's see, the one I'm looking for. We caught some Russians stealing toilets again, I think. Here it is. This is the video. Some of Patrick's friends trying to steal another toilet. I think that's what's happening here. This is in the city of Volchansk, you know. Let's see if we can watch this again. This is from coming from Dennis Davydov, by the way. Does that look like a toilet to you? It really looks like a toilet to me. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. Can't say for certain, but okay. Anyway, guys, this has been so much fun. And Patrick's time, I hope that the next time you come, you bring more friends, because I haven't had this much fun on a live stream in a long time. It was fantastic. I'd like to, yeah, there we go. Because thank you, Viper. Because in Africa, we have more honor and bravery in our pinky than the Russian have in his whole body. That's fair. Yeah. Anyway, so I'd like to thank all of you for coming to this live stream. It was fantastic. I don't know what we're going to do about this, guys. All I can say is that we need to, you know, America and Europe, but especially America, needs to send more weapons faster. Because if we don't, then we're going to end up like this. The sooner we can end this war with the complete and total defeat and obliteration of Russia and Patrick's whole thing, the sooner we can make that happen, the sooner we can prevent this. Yeah, guys? All right. Thanks very much for coming. Oh, one little thing here. Let's see. I want to just do something. There we go. And okay. There we go. Okay. I just blocked Patrick's time. Viper. Thanks, James. Needed fuel after a 34-hour stint. Yeah, Patrick's time just got me going for the week. Yeah, anyway. But I did give Patrick's time the boot. Sorry. I know I shouldn't have done it, but I'm sure he can make up a fake profile and come back. It won't be too hard. Anyway, thank you. Yes, okay. Real Dave Seaman. I had doubts about Patrick, but since he's actually not even such a bad guy, I will put the second raffle ticket in Anna's name, and screw that, Ivan. I will. Thank you for asking, Blonde. How much more close to the raffle? I don't know. I unfortunately, I really need to get with Dick Dawson and get my technology, or Yana or somebody, and get my technology on. I will look it up after the stream and announce how close we got in our live stream today. I'd like to hope that we got at least close to 400. That is my hope. So yeah, with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming. And, I know that Rick is doing his live stream and other people. So thank you very much for coming, all of you. And I hope that I get to see you again on Thursday, I think. The Shills are live too. Holy crap. All right, guys. Go see the Shills. Go see Rick. Have a great day. Slava Ukraine.